Today I'm going to show you how I built this research agent in n8n that takes any topic you're interested in and actually does in-depth research on that and creates you a PDF with citations and a reference sheet all the way at the bottom, citing every reference it used in order to do this research. So this research paper in specific ended up being 13 pages long, but the beautiful thing about this system is your agent decides how the section should be. How long should this paper be? It decides what to research based on your input. But as you're going to see in this video, this agentic system creates these in-depth research papers for you in a matter of minutes. All you need to do is type in a topic. Let me show you an example of how one might be created in this system. And keep in mind, it's citing real-world information. So I can click on these links and actually go to the pages that it's used in order to create this entire research paper for us. So let me show you an example. All I have to do is hit test workflow and then type in any topic that I'm interested in. Maybe I am showing interest in photobiomodulation and how it can regenerate the human body. What I can do is I can hit submit and then it says form submitted. Now this entire agent is going to run through and create an in-depth research PDF just like the one I showed you. Now I can just go away from my computer, I can go about my day, and this thing is going to be working for me and doing research for me in the background, and then putting in my Airtable database a nice link to an in-depth PDF. So for now, I'm gonna wait for this to run through, and I'll be back once the PDF is created. And just like that, it finished up. You can view the PDF in here, or you can look at it in your Airtable database. I'm just going to select here for now and then hit view, and then I'm going to download this, and we can download our report. As you can see, I've been going crazy on the reports recently. I'm just going to hit save, and then I can look at it. This one turned out to be 14 pages of in-depth research on photobiomodulation and how it can regenerate the human body. And it gets into each section of this research, like understanding it first with actual citations, and it's going super in-depth on this one topic that I am interested in. It gets into the background and historical context, the evolution of photobiomodulation, and it gets even into the molecular mechanisms of it and actually cites things. And it's actually putting in like very advanced, high-level PhD stuff in here. So if we go to the sources, we can actually click and see where it got some of this information from. So as you can see, it used this in order to do some research for us. And I just want you guys to understand how crazy this is, that it actually generates an entire PDF for you that's unique and original and does in-depth research on whatever you want and takes you step by step through multiple pages with sources, citations, literally everything. Goes into the background and historical context, gets into when this topic was introduced, it cites information that we can click on like I just showed you. And it goes into everything you need for whatever topic you want to research. That's how crazy AI is getting. It can put together all of this information for you. And at the very end, it gives you all of the references that it used, all nicely formatted with numbers in a nice PDF down here. So this one was 14 pages, like I said, and I'm just in love with how this is generating for topics that I want to research. Now I'm going to break down the system and how it all comes together. I'm going to be walking you through some principles that are very important when developing your own research agent. But if you just want like the easiest one-click install, not only the easiest one-click install, but also like the best path for learning how to build n8n agents so that you can build these workflows by yourself, then join our AI Foundations community. I'll leave a link in the description and the top pinned comment. And I am building these automations and these agents for the community all the time. So the members that are with us, and if you're a part of AI Foundations, you get the privilege of coming into our Build Agents with n8n course. As you can see, I put these agents in here before they come up on YouTube. And also, we have full blueprints. So all I have to do is download this. And when I come back to n8n, all I have to do is hit import from file. And I can hit open on that file that I just downloaded, and it imports my entire blueprint. All you have to do is go in and make connections. And I show you how to do that within the community. So if that interests you, you love n8n, you love agents, you love AI in general, then come make yourself a part of our community. Make sure to introduce yourself because we love welcoming new members. We have over 6.5 thousand comments on the introduction thread alone. So We want to get to know you, and we hope to see you on the inside. But now, let's get into some principles for building a research agent that I believe are most important. So before I built out that entire research agent workflow that actually creates those in-depth research PDFs for me, this is a video I really wish I would have had getting into it, because what I'm going to do is break down key principles. Now, everybody's use case is going to be different. The research agent I just showed you is going to be different probably than what you want compared to what somebody else wants. So I just want to give you key principles rather than showing you the one way to build a research agent. So let's dive into 3 important concepts in order to develop your first research agent. Now, when you're developing a research agent, one of the first most important things is fortifying your research structure. So what happens in the beginning of the automation before you even get into doing the research with Perplexity, O3, DeepSeek, whatever you're doing research with, that's cool, but that's the easy part. Fortifying your research structure may be the most important thing when developing a research agent. This sets the tone of the rest of your workflow. A poorly structured research paper is going to lead to poor results. Now, what's the next thing? Principle number 2 is a rotating aggregation database. This might sound confusing, but I'll break it down for you. You need to develop a rotating system, such as an Airtable, a Notion, a Google Sheets, that aggregates information as you go. So this isn't one thing that you pull all of the information into at the very end of your automation, but something that you're using throughout your automation so that you can upload parts of your workflow to the Google Sheets. And then maybe later in the automation, you go back and you use that. This is important, having a rotating aggregation database. This allows you to put each citation, task, output, topic into one place. Now, it creates an organized way of storing all of your research, not only for you, but for your agent. So your agent has a place it can go back and grab certain parts, grab previous citations. It can see its previous citations so it doesn't use the same one, or number the same citation if it already has it used in there. So developing a rotating aggregation database, absolutely crucial. Next, research task splitting. If you try to create a 15-page PDF with a single prompt, it won't work. You need to have individual sections for your agent to go in depth on. That's why storing the research in a rotating database is crucial. You can piece it all together when it's time, but focus on each piece of research, each section. So if you think of like an outline, you have an introduction, you have a body, you have a conclusion. If we're going very basic, you would want an agent performing tasks individually. So you'd want an agent that's focused on just the outline, or you'd want to run a task into the agent that's just focused on that outline. Similar to the body, similar to the conclusion. When you task split your research, this is when you can create awesome research. So now, I think we get into building a mini research agent so I can show you my thought process. Now, before I even think about building agents, we're going to hop into diagramming the agent so we can see how we want it to work. So I'm going to show you a diagram of how my agent works, and then we're going to implement a miniature system of that so you can see it working in action. So here I'm in an application called BoardMix, and this is where I really like planning out all of my research agents, all of my agents that I'm building. It doesn't matter whether it's research or not, but everything starts with a user input. And as you saw in the beginning of this video, I wanted my agent to start with a user input, me just typing in a topic I'm interested in. Whatever topic you type in, that topic of choice gets sent to something called a query refiner. If you were doing research on a topic, you would need to refine your queries, right? You would need to type in specific things to Google in order to find the research that you need to meet your topic of choice or your request that you want researched. And next, the query refiner, what it does in my automation is it sends my queries to a style guide. This style guide determines the structure of my research paper. So like I said, you need to fortify your research structure, one of the main principles. And that's what I'm doing here is I'm getting down a structure for each new topic that comes in, each new set of search queries. But then you need to send everything to something that I like to call the research manager, because what this is going to do is not only create your first Airtable page, like create a topic within your database and say like, okay, we have all the queries, we have the style guide, we have the topic, and that's all getting sent to the research manager. The style guide, everything. So now that we have everything set in stone, now we can create an Airtable page, a Notion page, a Google Sheet row in order to aggregate all of our information to. That's the idea. That's what this thing is doing right here. Is first it's going to create that Airtable page so that we can keep adding information as we develop research about it. But what this research manager is also doing is creating individual tasks. Each research task is based on a section from my style guide. So I'm creating a task around the introduction, a task around the background, clinical studies, etc. And then I'm sending that task individually to a research loop. So each task is going to get sent through something called the Research Operations Manager. I'm just trying to diagram and show you my thought process when I was building this thing so that you can too implement it in your own workflow. But what this does is this agent has different tools it can use. Maybe it's connected to one of my Airtable databases, right? And it can see certain information I want within my research. Maybe it's connected to my previous citations, so it can see which citations not to use again, or which citations it can use, and which ones to reference in that numbered list. Next, we have it contacting a research tool. So what do you want researching for you? For me, I wanted to be able to quickly switch out my model, so I'll show you what that looks like, but I use something called Open Router, so I could use DeepSeek, Perplexity, ChatGPT, literally whatever I want. And after your research is complete, it then gets added to that Airtable page that you created. Right here, you can append content or you can create new pages, new database rows, but you're basically processing each individual research task through your Research Operations Manager, which then decides which tools to use for this specific task and also which research tool to use as well. You could have multiple. And then it's just appending that section. So this research task might just be the introduction, right? It might just be the conclusion, but then it sends it back to your database. So you're grouping all of these little sections together in a database. And after all of these tasks have ran through, it then uses everything from your Airtable page in order to create a PDF. Let's dive into n8n and build a miniature version of my research agent. That way you can kind of understand what goes into it, the thought process, and everything that I might be thinking about when building out this agentic workflow. Maybe I want this research agent to start on a form input similar to how I did my main research agent. What I can do is I can start this on a form submission. And then I'm just giving a field label, making my field type text, and then giving a nice little placeholder right here. I can just click out of this. So now my form is ready. I have a spot where I can insert a topic. Next, we need to pass our topic to an agent that maybe gives us some search queries to use for our research. Similar to how I set up my other automation. I'll even give you my query refiner and my query refiner prompt in this video. So I've pasted in my query refiner here, and this thing is actually going to take user inputs from the form and then turn it into searchable queries for our agent so that it can accurately research the topic that we want to get more information on. So I'm going to walk you through this. I'm going to show you the prompt, and I'm also going to connect O3 Mini to this. So if you want to connect O3 Mini right now, you need to go to OpenAI chat model, and you can't actually select it from the list. Okay, it's not in here. So if you want the best OpenAI model, what you have to do is filter by ID. And then what you can do is type in O3-mini, and it's going to pull that model from the API. So you're going to need to connect your credential. But after that, we now have O3, the best model on ChatGPT power in this thing. Next, let's take a look at the prompt. So what I'm doing is in my text, I'm passing the topic of research. So if I test this and I just type out any word, maybe happiness, as you can see, this is going to pass happiness in the prompt. So it's taking that and saying topic of research. I'm telling the agent that the topic of research is happiness in here. Next, let's dive into my instructions. What you can do is you can just screenshot these instructions and paste them in to ChatGPT in order to do OCR and actually give you them so you can copy and paste them into your own query refiner, or you can just look and take bits and pieces of it. So I'm going to scroll down so you can capture each one of these instructions here so that you can use them as well. You can just screenshot each section there. And what we need to do here with this query refiner is take in my topic and create searchable items for our agent. So let's take a look at what I'm doing here. I'm basically giving a goal saying you need to craft 5 well-crafted, distinct, highly relevant search queries based solely on the user's stated topic. And I basically give it the structure to output its answer in. So I want it outputting my topic and then 5 search queries. So what we can do in order to get that consistent output is we can copy this JSON object, and then we can connect an output parser. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select that and then select structured output parser. and then I'm going to paste it in here. And guys, if you really want to learn how to like craft these agents alone and you don't want to have to keep struggling through, then join our community, because people in there are going from literally 0 to hero. They're helping each other. They're building out their own agents. And now, they're building these types of systems alone. That's where the course will take you with the n8n agent building. So now let's test this out. The goal is to get a structured output so we can map it to other parts of our agent and our workflow. I'm going to test this workflow, and I can type in anything like sugar and how it affects depression. Don't know if I used the right effects right there, but let's see if sugar has any link to depression. I can submit that, and now it's going to refine search queries for me. So actual searchable terms that you might search if you were doing the research alone. So sugar intake and depression, clinical research, mechanisms of sugar influencing depression onset. And it gets into all of these different studies on how sugar connects to a certain thing. This is what I really like doing, is taking one topic and seeing how it connects to another. So now that we have this structured output, every single time we type in a topic, it's going to give us 5 search queries and a topic right there. This is a main part of the agent, is actually getting this query refiner down. Now, I'm not going to build out my entire workflow, obviously. We'd be here for 4 or 5 hours. But what I'm going to do is show you how I might connect a rotating Airtable database, and also how I might add research to this so that it can search all of those terms and create a little research paper for me. So first, let's create the Airtable database, our rotating aggregation system. I've just created an Airtable base. I'm going to name it RAS for rotating aggregation system. I can just rename this table to research papers. And now I can craft this to be topic name. And then I'll leave this simple. I'll just name this content. And then what I can do is I can create a token for this table in the Builder Hub. And what that token is going to do is give n8n access to my Airtable database. So I'm going to create new token. I'm going to call this delete this. And then I'm going to add scopes, the read, the write, and then the schema basis read. And then I'm going to add a base. So I'm going to add the RAS base that we just created, hit create token, copy that key, hit done. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to add that topic as a new page within our Airtable database. So if I go back to just the regular Airtable system that we just created, we want to add a new topic each time that we type it in the form field. So I can select that little plus button, type in Airtable, and then create a record. Beautiful. Now I want to connect my Airtable access token. So that thing that I just copied right there, I can connect my Airtable to that specific base. Connection tested successfully. So now I can select that base, the RAS, and then select my table, which is the research papers table. If it doesn't load, hit by URL and then from list again, and it surely will load very quickly. Beautiful. Now we can map each thing to this database here. So now we have control of our database with an n8n. For topic name, I'm just going to map topic name, and then I am going to just leave it at that. So now anytime we create a new topic, we're going to get a page created with it. You can even rename this to create topic in Airtable. And now we can actually create our research agent. Now I love using Open Router because you get to search between all of these different models. So if I hit browse, as you can see, we have 312 models that we can choose from in here, including things like DeepSeek, we have Perplexity, we have Google Gemini, we have it all in here. So I'm going to use this, but you can use really anything you want. Now, the only bad thing about this is I have to use an HTTP request, so it does get a little bit more complicated, but again, you could do this with any AI agent you want. And what I've done is I've renamed this to Research Agent. We have a post request, and basically what we're going to be doing here is using any model we want in order to create research. So where it says authorization bearer here, I'm just going to add in an Open Router key. So I'm just going to create a key and then hit create, copy, and then I can paste this into my agent right here. So I'm going to hit space, and then I'm going to paste. Beautiful. Didn't even mean to rhyme there. But now we can get into our prompting. So when you're using Open Router, you're going to have to prompt with JSON here. So we have our system role, like instructions. You can think of this like custom instructions. And then we have content, the actual prompt that we're sending to the user. So I could just give it some basic instructions like you are a research agent. Then I can say you will receive 5 queries and a topic. You are to do in-depth research on that topic. with those queries. Beautiful. So now we have just a little instruction in here for what to do. And then this is the prompt. So this is where we'd put the topics in the search queries that it's receiving. So what I can do is I can just type in topic : and then I can dynamically map the topic. So in order to do that, I'm going to back out of this, hit save. And what I can do in here is I can test this. So let me just test the entire automation to pull in some dynamic data. I can just type in anything. Again, I'll just type in happiness. Feeling very happy today. So let's keep that rolling. Now that we have test data in here, let's connect it to the research agent and dynamically map those fields that we want pulling in to the JSON body. So where it says topic, I'm now going to drag over topic, and then I can just put a comma and put search queries. And then I can drag in each one of the search queries. Now, since I have 5 search queries pulling in every time, I can just dynamically map search queries 1 through 5, right? If you were dealing with a dynamic number of search queries coming in, obviously you'd want to do this a little bit different with a stringify code node or something along those lines. But for now, this will work out just fine. Very simple. We're giving it everything it needs. Going to end it in quotes right there with that JSON bracket. So now it's dynamically getting in my topic in the 5 search queries with this system function. So you are a research agent. Right now, I'm just using the Perplexity sonar model, and we can even test this step with the information it has in here. As you can see, it gives me a comprehensive study on this subject. And when you have both of these things working, like the research agent and the creating a topic within your database, what you can do is you can actually merge these together. But first, we need to actually split out this research agent's output in order to extract the message. Sometimes when things are in arrays, like this is, it's under, choices, it's under another choices, message, content. What we need to do is we actually need to split that out. So we can use a split out module, test that step, and now it just extracts the message for us. And now what we can do is we can add a merge field to merge together the Airtable record ID and also that message that we just received. So I'm going to add the Airtable field to record to input 1, add the split out to input 2, and then I'm going to run that step. So what this does is it gives me the ID and also the message right here. Beautiful. Next, what we can do is we can create an update Airtable record module, pull the record ID that we just created, and update the content field of that record ID. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to type in Airtable, and then I'm going to do update record. From there, I want to select my right Airtable token, choose my right base, choose the right page or the right table that I want from the list. I want the research papers table, and then I map these columns. So I want to map ID to ID because this is the page that we want to update. And then I can delete topic name since we already have one. And now I just want to add in the content right here. Now the reason it's undefined is because there's 2 separate objects in here. So what we can do is we can aggregate them into one. So I'm going to go up here, delete that connection, and then I'm going to type in an aggregate module like this. And now I can connect it to this merge to merge the ID and the message into one object. So I'll hit play here. And I forgot to actually add in the fields that I wanted to aggregate. So I'm going to add a field to aggregate, and I'm going to do this message. I'm going to rename it to output. So we have ID and output. I can test that step. Now we have ID and then output. Now when I connect the Airtable module, what's going to happen is I can now connect this ID just like that. And now I can also connect the output just like that. So they're both coming in now since they're in the same object, if you would. And now this automation is up and running. So this would be an example of a mini research agent that takes in a form input, creates search queries, does research with Perplexity, splits, merge, aggregates all of the data into a new Airtable paper. So let's test out our mini research agent. I'm going to hit test workflow, and then I can just type in any topic. Maybe I'm interested in why are animals in Australia so different? Maybe I want to do some research on that. I can send that off, and then it will go through this entire paradigm that we created. It creates a topic with our topic name, and then it goes through the research paradigm using Open Router, which is very, very cool. So after it does this, it'll split it out, merge it, aggregate it, and then update our record in Airtable, just like that. So now when I go back to Airtable, as you can see, it gives us our entire mini research paper in here. So this would be an example. It even gives us little sources here, but we could ask it to list out the sources it used as well and put it in here. So I hope that you enjoyed this mini research agent. I hope that you enjoyed the idea of building a research agent within n8n. Again, if you want the smoothest way to learn how to build AI agents within n8n, and you love AI, you want just a framework, a proven pathway to succeed, then I recommend joining the AI Foundations community. Again, we have that 25 module n8n course. We have an epic community in here where everyone is talking about AI. Everyone's pushing each other to get better. We have a classroom chocked full of modules besides just n8n. We have n8n agent automation templates like the one I showed you today. We have a calendar with live calls. And of course, we have the lovely community. So I hope to see you inside because this is truly where the best learning happens. And our students have went from knowing nothing to making money with AI, to building agents with AI, getting new job positions, you know, the whole 9 yards. So we hope to see you in there because we truly do believe it's the best way for you to learn. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this research agent video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.